Welcome, everybody, to the second day of the launch of AICCRA project. Before we go into the actual session, please note that this event will provide French live interpretation. To access the interpretation, you may click the link available on the CEvent platform session page. Select your preferred language and make sure to mute the original video and only listen through the interaction page. Should you be asked for a code, please enter AICCRA-day2, AICCRA-day2. Now, going into the session, the context of AICCRA. In the last 20, 30 years have witnessed huge effort to create the best possible climate information and to ensure that that information reaches decision makers and policy makers around the world. The result of this work is that the quality of climate information has greatly been improving, and there is now very good information for historical climate analysis, for monitoring the current climate, and to establish useful seasonal and sub-seasonal climate forecasts. There are still challenges to ensure that this great climate knowledge effectively informs and supports actual decisions, policies, and development plans. The IRI, one of the primary partners in AICCRA, has been working for a long time to try to connect these climate knowledge products and tools with the actual needs of a variety of stakeholders working in the public and private sector. Our university, Columbia University, has now started important efforts to also bring the knowledge generated in our schools to contribute to solve world challenges. Two of these efforts that are very notable are the creation of the Columbia World Projects and the recently created Climate School. The partnership of the IRI and the Climate School with CCAPs and with the CG centers in AICCRA will clearly result in the best climate services for Africa. So AICCRA gives us a wonderful opportunity to work in this challenge of bringing the best science to support development efforts. We will be collaborating with national meteorological services across Africa to help strengthen their capacities to generate the best possible climate information and products. And strong meteorological services are key for the sustainability of our efforts after the project ends. Plus, we will foster in AICCRA public-private partnerships to ensure that this knowledge is translated into relevant agriculture information so that it's scaled up and used by different actors that are working across the food systems. Now, the improved climate-related knowledge and the increasing access to ICTs, to information and communication technologies, including in rural areas, is resulting in the creation of climate-informed agriculture advisory services and decision-making tools. And these tools, these advisories and decision support tools, will play a key role in the next generation of climate services for agriculture. So again, AICCRA gives us an amazing opportunity to revolutionize climate services for agriculture and to ensure that these climate services end informing farmer advisors, extension workers, policymakers to improve the livelihoods of farmers across Africa. Our keynote speaker will now discuss the next generation of climate services. So I have the pleasure to introduce Dr. Aram Tol, Senior Adaptation and Resilience Specialist of the Climate Change Group in the World Bank. Aram, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Walter, for that kind introduction. And what Walter's not saying is that at IRI, he used to be one of our former teachers, both myself and the host of climate service experts that IRI has trained and launched into the world. So thank you very much, Walter. I appreciate that. It's a delight being here. It's a delight joining all colleagues who've been at the forefront of this battle to link climate services with action for many, many years. and I'm very glad to be joining this conversation this morning. My name is Aram. I'm at the World Bank, where I lead some of these battles also to make sure that financing is made available at large scale to support some of these efforts that we've piloted for many years. And I truly welcome and congratulate the new initiative, AICCRA, for taking on this agenda full on, and for ensuring that we do have a global platform that is dedicated to issues of climate advisory services for farmers. I'd like to go a bit in the past as I start my remarks. 2007, the very first El Nino projection over at least Africa, where we had enough lead time to do something about it. Those days are now past gone, but today, I feel that it's important to go back to those early days of forecasting and climate service generation, because climate has now become a very sexy topic. We finally have the listening ear of policymakers and global platforms that want to do something about climate, but often we forget that the best way to adapt and to build foundations of climate-informed planning, investment, design, and action is to actually build those early building blocks, the very boring day-to-day work of ensuring that we have functional hydromet services, quality climate information, as Walter started in his introduction, and that those building blocks are then connected to the needs of essential decision makers. And in our case, in this platform, the millions of smallholder farmers globally that depend on rain-fed agricultural systems for their sustenance, and that today are faced with increased climate variability and rising climate impact. As a result of this day-to-day work, we've seen, notably through the work of CGIAR, and I was very blessed at the time to be working with CGIAR, we've seen that mission possible is something that we can achieve. I remember the report we launched at the time saying that we can connect existing climate knowledge with decision making for millions of farmers across South Asia, across Africa, across Latin America, some of the world's most vulnerable farming communities. But it does require a few adjustments. And at pilot scale, I think CGIAR has done an amazing job demonstrating that it takes assiduous day-to-day work with the National Met Service. It takes tailoring within user interface platforms to ensure that the needs, the formats for forecasting, the dissemination channels of farmers are taken into account in the process of designing the climate service, so that indeed it's a service, it's not a supply-driven service, but it's really a service that does achieve impact with its end users. So I thought that moment of mission possible and that message is now more than ever important as governments and policymakers struggle to find out how to best adapt. It's important to recall those experiences and those pilots which have shown the way for how to deliver good adaptation for smallholder farmers. Now more than ever in that shifting landscape, I find that it is now more than ever important to bridge the gap, and that continued work of linking together the Met and climate community with the decision-making community in agriculture, the policymakers, the smallholder farmers, the extension service workers, the agricultural extension services, that bridging the gap work, that connecting the dots work, which AICCRA is in a really good position to support. That work now more than ever absolutely has to continue on the local terrain in each of the target countries that the initiative will be launching, and mostly among other development partners that have a similar agenda. Looking forward a little bit, what do I feel is missing? What will it take going forward to achieve that level of transformation? I do see two levels of intervention. At the pilot scale, as I said, the good work has to continue, the good day-to-day work of revamping Met services, ensuring that observational data is there, it's matched with the best available global modeling capability to indeed deliver the best quality on the supply side information, quality climate information. That work is a building block, it has to be achieved. To me, at the pilot scale, it's also important to keep demonstrating that in agriculture, user interface platforms can be made operational. And what I mean by that is that getting into standard delivery of these agro advisory services on digital platforms, on farmers' cell phones, during times when women can actually read them, whether they're at the boreholes or, you know, whatever the format of dissemination is appropriate for that target community. So that level of service delivery needs to keep being piloted, and I don't see that happening. It's starting and budding, but I think across the multiple countries that we supported, both in Africa, Latin America, South Asia, it's important that that level and standard of service delivery on agricultural climate services be pushed and maintained and delivered. The big challenge and the bottleneck for action is not at pilot scale. It's how we go from pilot to large scale action. And there, what I would absolutely encourage colleagues on the AICCRA platform to do is to ensure that it is anchored within existing national agricultural investment policies and platforms. One that comes to mind are the climate smart agriculture investment plans that are being developed globally. It's really important that whatever initiative, whatever onus, whatever good practice comes out of AICCRA, that it gets firmly anchored and hooked into these climate smart ag investment plans. These are being designed, because that indeed is one of the mediums to which it'll achieve scale and ensure that at a government level, we have very strong leadership from the Ministry of Agriculture and the Ministries of Finance to ensure that these actions for agricultural advisory services get achieved at scale. And they're not the act, the deed, the achievement of one institution, but truly the joint collective delivery of a government plan that is focused on adaptation. Perhaps one really important point I'd like to also bring to the conversation is the importance of ensuring that as we go on with these efforts, that the successes of AICCRA are shared widely. As I said, we are now in a very different landscape. Everyone talks about climate. It's not just a marginal issue of a few companies or a few agencies. The winning game will be the one that will show that this is what needs to be achieved as governments are scrambling, and I mean that genuinely, they're scrambling for solutions on what to do with adaptation. Additional development finance will be devoted to add to climate action and supporting the next generation of NDCs. AICCRA is in a very unique position and is well poised to inform that next generation of action. And to me, as I always advocate in my day-to-day work, it starts with investing in user-relevant climate services, and in particular, agricultural advisory services. That's just a no-brainer and is the first stepping stone of achieving good adaptation. So AICCRA is in a very good position, as I said, to inform those efforts as they go forward. And I do hope that there's a lot of the operational budget devoted to knowledge, learning, and sharing platforms and information as part of the program, because that will be a good investment, well served to achieve scale. I'd like to leave it as that. I congratulate again the entire team for this initiative. We'll remain by your side to ensure that the successes are well known and well shared, and mostly well anchored with ongoing government plans to ensure that those indeed are taken at scale and reach the impact that was always dreamt of by CCAFs when it was being set up, reaching all of the globe's smallholder farmers with appropriate climate information services and advisory services to aid them in their adaptation efforts and decision making. Thank you very much again, and I give it back to you, Walt, and the rest of the team. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aram. As usual, very enlightening. You gave three key issues that are critical for AICCRA. You point out the importance of continuing improving the work at the pilot level, but to ensure that this work is widely upscaled, and in that upscaling to ensure that we take advantage of the investment that already exists at the national level, and also on the importance of being sure that we disseminate widely the work of this very important project. So now, thank you very much, Aram. So now we go into the next session, which is a session where our partners will be showcasing some ongoing successful projects for the development of climate-informed agricultural advisory services and decision-making tools. And we will hear from 3 of our partners. If we hope that there is some time after this session so that we can have some live Q&A where we hope that we can interact with you. Please note that the Q&A will be done via the CVEN platform. So you will see on the right side tab of your screen 2 icons, chat and Q&A. Please submit your questions via the Q&A box, and we will try to answer your questions if time allows. So we will start with our first presenter from AICCRA, is Gordon Nicoy, who is a business development manager of AICCRA. So Gordon.
Good afternoon to you, or good morning. I don't know wherever you are. I'm just greeting you. And thank you very much for introducing Mr. Walter. AICCRA is a private company, and permit just some 1 minute to talk a little about AICCRA and then watch the video to see some of the successes that we've chalked. We did what we call the PPP, just to bring the public and the private partners together to promote the climate information service that we want to do. The idea of it is to make sure that we have sustainability. And so that's when we only come in when we believe when the beneficiary is paying for the service that they are getting. And the beneficiary can only pay when they see successes. So what do? We bring the Ghana Metro together. We brought the research stations together. We bring the extension officers together. And then we get a unique information. And the main work for AICCRA is to deliver the information timely to the smallholder farmers. How do I say timely? We make sure that as early as 6 a.m., maximum by 7 a.m., the farmer knows exactly what is going to happen on that day or in that week, so that he uses that information wisely. So Ghana Metro gives us the seasonal forecast. We give the information to the research stations to give us the variety of crops that they should grow on their farms. And this information is channeled to the smallholder farmer to know that this season, for example, we are not going to get average rainfall. So they should grow early variety crops like the mamaba, the lake that we are having in the system, so that they can meet the demand that they need to have food security in their homes. Based on that, we also give them the daily forecast to make sure that they are always abreast with what is happening over the environment. One thing too that we keep on doing for them is to open a call center for them, whereby any farmer at any point, at any time, can call the call center where we speak the local language. We are encouraging them to call the center to make sure that they understand exactly what is happening over there, for them to be able to make sure that the information that they get is used wisely on the field. Let me land here for us to watch the video to talk about some of the successes that we've achieved so far.
Thank you. Private business that provides a communication platform for farmers in Ghana to have access to information. In July last year, we had a program with AICCRA where we tried to improve access to climate smart agricultural technology for farmers in northern Ghana. The program had 4 main categories of information that was provided to the farmers. The first is seasonal weather forecast. The second is climate smart agricultural tips. The third is nowcasting, which means real-time climate information. And then the fourth is the market price information.
Ka do kwa ka wiye wa kun ka chaka tin wa ga borona te man bo kare burwiyo te man dila bumbulu abyo burbunye so pampana aska de man wala awulte latana na makwa.
And AICCRA has given them the line that they can always call to ask for clarifications, and the number is 1900.
Mbonka ayeti atwana kodate yisuku kwaro ayeti atwana kodate yemo tin wa buaye tematuma buaye aso Sa de bula kunembi.
Bamale wultina. Taima. Tena na senkate kwa abumona. Asami etenyere na aba formation yiri aba zie. Taima na senkate pil kwa. Bama yel kote. Teka tana aba a number 1900.
With CGIAR communities, we introduce new varieties to them, early maturing varieties, improved varieties to the farmers, such as maize, soya beans, sorghum. We started with them.
Ingana ka tono bebe, atantono. So about wulu bana wula ayire tono akorob. Kana kuma to be school fees yabe. In the moto ya dase pangpa bag wale ndamasiere. Cheboro wula ma tona dawaje papa ase.
Karinya aturunga ane yelemina kante na tuande atono kara yele greninge kaba tuande yele kurate gura karima wona ami tuantu urale.
Thank you, Gordon, for a very nice video and a very good story of successful story of the work that AICCRA is doing. Second, I have the pleasure to invite my friend Usman Ndiaye, Director of Meteorology at Anasim, who will tell us the story of his work in Senegal. Usman.
Thank you very much, Walter. Hi, everybody. It's a pleasure to be here and to share our experience in providing climate information services. As you know, as a Met Services, what we want to do is really ensure that in the decision-making, people are able to get access to climate information and to take it in this process. And for such a big challenge is how to deliver the climate information service. As you know, it's perishable. You need to get in the right format, right channel, and ensuring, especially in Africa, it reach those end users so they can take it. At the other end, also, you want to get feedback because this information is always discussed, core product, do an M&E, check back, and so on and so forth. So we need to ensure that this is happening on time so people can get it. So in Senegal, we have this project that we developed with help of USAID. And before that, it was CCAF, and before that also, the seed was planted at IRI. I'm very happy to be part of this such initiative, and that's forward thinking at the beginning that climate information is really important for development. So through this project funded by USAID since year, we was able to develop climate information from end to end, from the demand-driven co-production all the way to the end user and getting feedback. And this film you want to see will show you how we do it in the fisherman community. But it's as well, valuable for farmers, for pastoralists. Also, we did it. We was able to send messages through text messaging, also through voice messaging, because as we know in Africa and in our country, people are illiterate. So even though you say a text message, they cannot read it. So we was able through this project to develop it and to send them the voice so the phone can ring and they can pick it up and get the message in the local language. So this short video will show you how people are using it, how they do with it, how they make a decision for this video, and also how we are trying to extend it now and to make it, sustainable, as my predecessor was saying, through a public-private partnership to ensure that we get funding that these things can go and keep going. So I will let you to watch the video, and hopefully I will get some feedback from you. Thanks very much, Walter.
Et le projet a pour objectif d'accroître la résilience des éleveurs, des pêcheurs et des agriculteurs au Sénégal.
Pour atteindre ces objectifs, USAID SACER travaille en partenariat avec l'Agence nationale de l'aviation civile et de la météorologie Anasim, outillé et équipé pour une bonne production de l'information climatique sur tout le territoire sénégalais.
Donc il s'agit pour nous, à travers ce projet-là, de renforcer nos capacités pour pouvoir donner un service, un meilleur service en tout cas à ce secteur-là, apporter, n'est-ce pas, de l'aide aux agriculteurs, apporter de l'aide aussi aux pêcheurs. On peut envoyer à partir d'ici un SMS, n'est-ce pas, à tous les acteurs qu'on a cette base de données et qui reçoivent en temps réel et qui leur disent que la météo a prévu telle ou telle chose. Et avec l'appui de ce projet USAID SACER, ça nous a permis aussi d'aller un peu plus.
Une fois produite, l'information climatique relative à la pluviométrie, les vents et les risques d'inondation est mise à la disposition des principales cibles du projet, dont les producteurs agricoles et les pêcheurs. un travail facilité par des startups telles que Jocolante et Meteorology.
Ce qui est intéressant, c'est qu'au-delà même de cet envoi et de cette réception à l'écoute de l'information, cela a permis à ces cibles d'appeler systématiquement pour demander l'information climatique. Donc le même numéro auquel ils reçoivent, ils ont compris qu'avant de prendre aucune décision pour pouvoir faire leur activité économique, ils doivent avoir cette information climatique. Et ça, c'est grâce aussi à l'appui de l'USAID.
Les IMF, avec les agents de CGIAR, ont la chance de vraiment maîtriser le système d'alerte précoce, maîtriser l'utilisation des outils dans le smartphone, dans les tablettes, pour que les gens suivent les informations climatiques.
Des secteurs porteurs, l'Agence américaine pour le développement international USAID accompagne le projet USAID sincère pour l'élaboration d'un modèle économique viable de production et de diffusion de cette information, et ce en partenariat avec l'État du Sénégal. 10 000 producteurs agricoles et 5 000 pêcheurs de tout le territoire ont été formés et reçoivent l'information climatique. 2000 agents des services techniques déconcentrés de l'État ont également été formés. 104 radios communautaires ont été équipées de pluviomètres manuels et diffusent de manière continue l'information climatique. Le personnel de ces dernières a aussi été formé pour une meilleure diffusion des informations climatiques en langue.
Thank you very much, Usman. And now we go to the third presentation from another good friend, Desiree Kagabo, who's a research scientist in CIAD and ILRI. Desiree, have the floor.
Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Desiree Kagabo, Associate Scientist working for the Alliance of Biodiversity International, the CIAD. I'm pleased to present one of the biggest climate services project, and the project name was the Rwanda Climate Services for Agriculture. That was a program of 4 years funded by USAID. The main objective was to increase the resiliency of farmers to the changing climate and improve climate risk management skills, and hence agricultural productivity for Rwandan farmers. The program was implemented by diverse and big partnership that involved more than 10 international and local institutions. More importantly, the program has helped indeed to position Rwanda at the cutting edge of agricultural climate services. The project adopted the most ambitious, the participatory integrated climate services for agriculture PICSA approach as the primary channel for building farmers' capacity. In the process, nearly 120,000 farmers were trained, and now they make better informed crop, livestock, livelihood decisions, and 90% of these farmers changed management, perceived several benefits. The project partnered with a community radio network and helped indeed also to create more than 200 radio listeners clubs to support again Rwanda farmers with interactive climate service radio programming. And the reach is estimated to 3 million farmers. The project also created new climate products, services, and these services or products were incorporated into the existing Rwanda Climate Map Room, comprising the most advanced suite of owner and climate information for agriculture in Africa. From this short brief, I would like to invite everyone to follow some of the testimonies from the farmers. Thank you for your listening.
Nta nyungu nagiraga mu buhinzi bwanjye, narahingaga nkarumbya kuko sinajyaga nita ku mihindagurikire y'ibihe, sinari nzi gutandukanya kumenya kujera cyangwa se kwitwara neza mu makuru y'igihe n'ikirere. Ariko ho narahingaga nkarumbya imyaka, amafaranga nashoyemo agahomba, ngahorana ubukene, nta mitiwere, simbone mitiwere ku bana, abana bakabura minerivare simbashe nanjye ubwanjye gusagurira isoko ariko bizi isaha tugezemo nabashije kugira amahirwe maze kubona amahugurwa naratangiye mbona inyungu kubera nahawe amahugurwa nsigaye nyishyira mu bikorwa nkurikije ibyo bambwiye n'utona ama message ya buri gitondo kuri telefone tukabasha gukoresha ayo makuru duhawe. Iyi nzu yanjye nta masuku yari ifite, murabibona hano hari ku mukungugu, none murabona maze gushyiraho agasima n'amasuku inyuma, urabona kuko biri kose ndumva nishimira kubwo gukoresha amakuru y'igihe n'ikirere.
Hise ngurishamo ibigori ubutaka bwo guhingamo, ira n'umwana mu ishuri bishyura na mituweli.
Aka karima karatandukanye n'aka ngaka, aka ni akapigisa twagahinze dukoresheje ifumbire mvaruganda n'imborera, noneho duca n'utu duserege turimo two gufata amazi turabishyira tugasasira.
Iki gihembwe cyangendekeye neza, ntabwo uko byagenda kose ntitukigira ntibikitutera impungenge ntibikidutungura, kuko dusigaye twaramenye gukoresha neza amakuru y'igihe n'ikirere.
Thank you, Desiree, and thank you to the three presenters for these very exciting stories. What we saw in these great stories in the SOCO project illustrates innovations in public-private partnership arrangements that inform new service deliveries for AICCRA. In the Anasim project, that illustrates innovation in institutional partnerships, co-production and tailoring of climate information that AICCRA will replicate and scale. And in the Rwanda project, we see innovations in very important participatory processes, communication channels, and gender-targeted services that AICCRA will replicate and scale also. So good news is that we have some time to interact with the audience, and we have some questions already that I will read them and we'll let the speakers answer. Aram, we have a first question for you, and it says, you mentioned a lot about anchoring in national policies, investment plans. What about the private sector? What is their role? Aram?
Hello, Walter, can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. The private sector is at the heart of the partnerships needed to advance climate services that are relevant. I think it's extremely important that we keep that in mind. I did not go in depth in my intervention on the value chain, but I think each of our organizations has some form or another of this value chain that links information to action. Private sector plays an essential part, and mostly as we deal with tailoring for user needs, as we deal with extension beyond the capacity of national extension services, it's extremely important that the private sector plays a part. I'm aware that the WMO, for instance, is working on a new hydromet partnership that the private sector is heavily involved in. So that's, for example, a good example of how the private sector and private sector entities can play a role in both working with Met services, and that's important as the entry point for supporting climate information service production, but most importantly, packaging, tailoring, and ensuring that information gets delivered at large scale and reaches the last mile. I'll end there, Walter. As we think of digital farmer advisory services, the private sector also plays a key role in enabling the technologies that will ensure last mile delivery. So I think across all these entry points on the value chain, and as we keep the focus on reaching the end users, the private sector has a key role to play. And I do hope that in AICCRA, the private sector will play a key role. I'm sure of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Aram. I have a second question now. It's directed to Desiree, but also to the other two presenters of the project. What are the key factors in scaling successful climate service innovations? What did we learn in a decade of CCAPs? So I'll let you start, Desiree, and I'll give the chance to Gordon and Usman if they want to comment. Desiree.
Okay, thank you so much. It's a great question indeed. I would say first that, you know, having tailored climate information services to farmers' needs, that would be the first step actually to have a successful way of reaching farmers. So the information being tailored, so it means that it is actionable. The other second part is that the communication channels. So we need to know the right channel so that the information actually is directed to people. And then there's two things. One is access to information. The other one is making sure that the information that we are providing is understandable so that people or farmers, they can use that information to make informed decisions. And again, both for livestock, crop, and the other livelihood activities. So the other part I would mention, maybe basing on the climate services for agriculture project in Rwanda, I would say the face-to-face is the most actually successful way of doing that. Of course, it has the constraints being so expensive, but it allows actually to respond to easy access, not maybe it's access, but the access, you are sure that the access, the information has reached people. And then the other thing, you are sure that people have understood, and then the use is likely to increase. The impact is likely also to go higher. Thank you.
Thank you, Desiree. Usman, would you like to add anything?
Yeah, sure. Just a few things. Saying that if you go for piloting, usually it's easy. It's a start. There you get some experience how things should work, and you get the how partnership should be built. But if you go to upscaling, things will be different because for agriculture, the type of crops will be different, the type of people, the language, everything. But at least you will develop kind of knowledge how to build a partnership. That's really the key word. From bottom all the way to up, and ensuring everybody is contributing. So having the network of right stakeholders is really the most important thing if you want to ensure that you are doing scaling up. So having the partnership is really important, and ensuring that everybody is there, especially for the user, ensuring it's the user demand, it's a co-production thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Usman. And now I have a question, the last question, I have a couple of minutes for Gordon. And the question is for Isoko, your business model, to what extent can climate advisory services be self-sustaining from fees charged to small-scale farmers, given such farmers are very cash constrained?
Yeah, thank you very much. I would say that it's very, very sustainable because you help the farmer to increase its productivity. The first thing you should do, or you should put in mind, is to make sure that he has moved from 100 kilograms to 500 kilograms of grain. Then you will be able to see that to that farmer, it's very difficult for that farmer to pay back. And one thing that we have seen is that when we do our bundle services and look at the last mile always is the smallholder farmer who is always cash strapped. But we make sure that we don't put 100% cost on the farmer. It should always be gradual. I call it the shifting cultivation, shifting of cost. So if you today you have a donor who is paying 100% for the farmer, next year the donor have to pay 80% and then the farmer pays 20%. The following year, the donor pays 60%, the farmer pays 40%. So gradually you shift the cost to the farmer at a very, very small pace. which he will be able to be willing to pay 100% maybe at the 4th year, because he has seen and has felt the results of he enjoying the service that you are providing. And please, let me add this to it, that we should always make sure that when we are doing certain things, we add our women. They are also very good chain leaders, but because of access, sometimes they are limited. So make sure we provide the access to the women too, so that most of them becomes our lead in the communities, so that they convince their own other women to take part in their programs and make use of the information we provide to them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank to all the presenters for keeping up with the time. You're being amazing. Thank you so much. So now we go to the next session where we will work in breakout groups. And now we will display a slide for instructions on how to join the breakout group discussions.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So there will be 3 breakout group topics for today's session. So breakout group 1 is on game-changing climate information services and climate-smart agriculture solutions. And the facilitator will be Abdul Ali, senior expert in hydrometeorology, head of the Information and Research Department, AgriMet. Breakout group topic number 2 will be climate relevant decision-making tools. Facilitator, Stuart Collis, Senior Program Officer, Digital Agriculture Solutions, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Breakout group topic 3 will be connecting climate information services and climate smart agriculture packages. Facilitator, Usman, DIA, Director of Meteorology, Anasim. And so instructions for breakout group sessions. After this session ends, please navigate yourself to the event lobby, menu tab on the top left of your screen. You will see the Happening Now section with 3 of the breakout group sessions available. Please select a breakout group that you would like to join and click Join Session. Once you select Join Session, you will be automatically directed to your selected virtual breakout room. Duration of the breakout group sessions will be 20 minutes. Once a breakout group session ends, please leave the meeting room you are in and return to the event lobby page on the CVent Virtual Attendee Hub. Select Plenary Part 2 session available under Happening Now and Join Session.